If you run a real estate fund or a syndication and you're only relying on referrals, networking dinners, and you're not running cold traffic meta ads to acquire accredited investors into your pipeline and get them to invest with your fund or syndication, you are missing out on a massive amount of capital you could be raising. And in this video, I'm going to prove exactly to you why and show you a strategy that you can take and apply to your fund or syndication to acquire accredited investors who don't know you, don't like you yet, or don't trust you yet from meta ads. So if you don't know me, my name is Evan Seach. I run an ad agency called Sell More Online, and we work with multiple real estate funds and syndications to help them raise capital for ground up development deals, multifamily real estate deals, commercial deals like car washes, self-storage units, and also some really cool stuff like student living homes and also senior living homes as well. And what we do is we run meta ads to acquire accredited investor leads that are qualified leads. Okay, so they've said, yes, I'm an accredited investor. Yes, I have a minimum of typically $100,000 liquid to invest in whatever deal type or fund that we're pitching, and usually one other qualifier question that we layer onto the form. So they said yes to all three of those things, and we usually acquire those leads on average between $35 and $75, depending on the deal type and what we're actually pitching in the metrics of the deal. And again, yes, these are qualified. They're not just any name, phone number, and email. They are qualified people on the front end. And then per booked call, so we call these investment briefings, so per booked call with you and your sales team, we average anywhere from $100 to $200. Again, qualified book call. And in this video, we're going to walk through why Meta in particular is a gold mine in 2026 for finding accredited investors to invest with you, the core components of an actual winning funnel and ad strategy for real estate funds and syndications on Meta, the biggest mistakes that I see made when trying to run ads on Meta to acquire accredited investors, and how to get started with a lean and scalable system so you can start getting accredited investors through Meta. Let's dive right in. So I probably don't have to pitch you too much on the mechanism of ads. I'm sure that some of you watching this have tried ads in general to raise capital and they just flopped for various amount of reasons. And all those reasons we're going to get into in this video and how you could fix them. But overall, for those of you who aren't really convinced on running ads to acquire accredited investors in general in the first place, let me dive in a little bit. So traditional methods like networking events, cold outreach, and organic content are just not scalable, okay? They're slowing down and you can't really hit the gas pedal on these things overnight. And here's the thing, your ideal investors are literally scrolling through Facebook right now. We sometimes have Fortune 500 CEOs that come through our funnels and invest with our clients. And Meta's algorithm is super sophisticated and knows exactly who to target, especially with the way that we script ads and formulate the funnel and condition the actual pixel on the platform. And just for some of you who are worried about compliance, we run every single bit of copy through an approved program that has been approved by multiple different lawyers that are all well-versed in FTC, SEC, and FINRA laws, all the government agencies. We don't want to deal with them. We don't want you dealing with them either. So we run every single bit of copy through a program that we have developed to ensure that we are fully compliant, not just with Meta, but also with the actual government and these organizations themselves. So Meta ads allows you to get super precise with who you're targeting. So we're able to find these ready to invest accredited investors who are literally actively searching for different funds and different ways to allocate their capital and put their capital to work. And also it's super scalable. Okay, we have some clients that are spending upwards of $5,000 to $6,000 per day in this niche. Yes, hitting those $35 to $75 per accredited investor lead mark. So you can do the math and see how many leads we're getting them per day. But you are able to scale this quite aggressively. And sure, at these higher spend levels, you do have to have those sales team people in place. So you do have to have different advisors dialing leads, setters, closers, whatever you really want to call them. But essentially this is super, super scalable. And again, we acquire people on these platforms typically that have a minimum amount to invest of $100,000, but we have ran campaigns to where the minimum is $500,000 and we averaged on that actual campaign around $750,000 collected per investor. So it is very scalable and you're able to diversify and get a predictable pipeline of leads coming in that you can literally use math to break everything down versus just kind of spray and pray organic cold outreach, which again has, its own limitations in terms of scale, targeting, and also just brand reputation. Plus at the same time, if you're trying to reach out to individual accredited investors, it's kind of hard to find that data. And of course, networking and in-person stuff, I don't have to really tell you how that's not scalable. But again, this is super crucial that you really just take this seriously in 2026, whether it's with us or another company or just doing it on your freaking own. If you want to raise capital fast and want to have a predictable pipeline of new investors coming in, Meta ads is the way to go. It's the most sophisticated platform that we've seen in this space. We've launched stuff on X, LinkedIn, we've launched some things on TikTok for different funds. And every single time we crush it on Meta, it's the best quality and it's the best stable consistency in this niche with the funnel type that I'm going to show you in just a sec. All right, so let me actually just break down the ad strategy and campaign strategy in general for you all that want to just go out and essentially start to raise now. So first, what we do, especially post the Meta Andromeda era, is we're writing individualized ads, okay? So we're not doing these things that for some of you guys who are watching this and have ran ads before, we're not doing this stuff where we do, you know, like 10 hooks and splice it onto like one body or two bodies to give us like 20 variations of ads, right? This would equal 20 variations. We don't do that anymore, okay? We're not seeing good scale in accounts. What we're essentially doing is we're writing down our client avatar. So what is the ideal investor to us, right? And we might have multiple avatars, totally cool. And then we're essentially writing down all of the different circumstances that they find themselves in and desires that they have. And then what we're doing here is we're writing individual ads for each one of these bullet points that we write under the avatar. So this would be like ad 1, ad 2, ad 3. And also we're making some super direct ads per set too. So what we love to do is just basically say, are you looking for XYZ targeted returns? Are you looking to put your capital to work? Stuff like that. Very direct hooks in this space work super well. Not a lot of marketing fluff and copywriting language. So when you're going through these kind of reasons why they should invest with you, you should be talking about the actual deal metrics in the hook, should be articulating some circumstance that they find themselves in. Like for example, we had a fund that we were advertising for, and it was basically an introductory multifamily fund. And they're basically targeting people who are shopping around for different syndicators and also different sponsors. So basically we had, you know, one ad, for example, that would be, are you just looking to try out a new sponsor, right? So very direct. Are you looking to try out a new sponsor? We had another one that was, are you worried about the stock market volatility and have a lot of cash in stocks and just you're looking to diversify? We had another one that was, hey, did you make a bunch of money in crypto and you're looking to put money into more of a stable asset here? We had another one that was for a different fund. It was for a fixed income fund, but it was basically like, are you looking for stable targeted cash flow every single month between 12% and 14% on an annual basis? And we also had another one, for example, that was for a fixed income fund that was super direct, and this one did really well. And it was, are you looking for stable targeted returns every single month coming into your account and are looking for a 12 to 14% annual return? Well, let me explain our fund to you. That one did really, really well. So super direct ads, but essentially what we want to do when we're actually scripting these ads out is we want to write down our avatar, who we're trying to target, how much money they have, what they do for a profession. Sometimes we run campaigns that are targeted towards like lawyers specifically, doctors and others. Again, we have some others that are targeting people in general who have invested with prior funds and syndications before, so they're pretty seasoned. We have some other campaigns that are super new to like, hey, this is going to be an introductory fund for first-time investors into syndications and real estate funds, so we want to target them, and that's different messaging in the ad. So basically, great exercise is to sit down and write down all of your avatars you want to advertise to and sell to and attract, and write them down in great detail, and then make about 7 to 10 individual ads for each one of those avatars. And these are individual ads. So the hook, so you basically write ad 1, you make the hook, the body, and the CTA, okay? All individualized, right? And they're all centered around these different reasons why they should invest with your fund. You're doing some direct ones, you're doing a couple case study ones where, hey, our last fund that we did returned XYZ. If you want to join our next fund, which is live and open right now, we have X amount to allocate to it and raise for it. Let me tell you more about it. That's a great hook as well. And then the bodies, and so again, all of these bullets are reasons why they should invest with your fund, different things they have experienced before, whether it's like pain points, different desires they have, certain direct as heck hooks as well, just like, hey, are you looking for this return? And then in the hooks, again, we're very direct. And then the bodies is pretty much supporting the hook and explaining more about the fund, explaining the returns, adding in some case studies or past deals. And then the CTA is very simple. We just tell them, hey, click on the Learn More button down below. You're gonna head to a form that you can fill out a couple bits of information, and someone from our team will reach out to you with next steps and more information about this opportunity. And I love calling out in the hooks accredited investors, passive investors, stuff like that, that really helps with our targeting, and it gets the right people to stop the scroll. So messaging is huge in getting qualified people through the actual pipeline and getting Meta to attract these qualified individuals who are ready to invest. So what you say in the ad does the targeting. That's why we do this exercise. Keep that in mind. And again, love adding the callouts, not to every single ad, but I love adding callouts on a couple of them, saying like accredited investors, passive investors, or are you looking for your next passive investment? Are you looking for your next big investment in 2026? That's another killer hook. Or, hey, car washes are the #1 investment in 2026. Let me tell you exactly why. And some other things on your actual ad is the environment itself, right? So if you're trying to raise money from serious people who are accredited investors, then guess what? You should be also looking serious and look like you actually raise money, okay? You shouldn't be outside with like sunglasses on with a car in the background or some weird stuff like that. You should be in a nice polo shirt, nice clean office background. If you're raising money for a self-storage unit, be at a self-storage facility. If you're raising money for a multifamily fund, be at some sort of multifamily complex, or even shoot selfie video with buildings in the background or something like that, multifamily buildings. If you're raising money for a car wash fund, film at a car wash. I'm literally driving down in a couple hours to a car wash to film for one of our clients, and we basically have a UGC creator, so user-generated content creator, who is filming ads on their behalf at the car wash, so those always rip. And again, just make sure that you look the part like you raise capital. Be trustworthy. People won't want to see some guy with a gold chain and a Lambo in the background being like, hey, give me money, right? Don't want that. You want to look professional and play the part. And also in the actual ads themselves, speak the right words to reach the right avatars that you're trying to target. And that's, again, why we do this exercise right here. And all these ads, I love keeping them under 90 seconds, even under like 60 seconds if you can, especially in this niche. Other niches like coaching companies and stuff like that we sell different offers to, we can go longer, but every single time we have an ad below 90 seconds, it works way better than one way beyond that for this particular niche, because you're targeting busy accredited investors. And these are video ads, so something to note too, we will run static ads. So about 80% of the time in any account we're doing video, and about 20% of the time in any account we're doing static image ads. And the images are very simple. So we go direct to offer. So we basically say, they pretty much look like this. They have a big headline that is super catchy. And I have a whole video on this page breaking down static ads in general. So you can basically watch that and start to ideate your own. I also have a resource in the description of that video that you can check out. But basically, we want to have a very short and snappy title. And then we like to have, a couple deal metrics here and a CTA. That's really it. So love running statics, very clean. If you have like a car wash fund that you're raising money for and you have pictures of the actual car washes that are in the fund, like put those in there. Same with the multifamily units. If you have a multifamily fund, show a couple of them in there. It's awesome stuff for visuals. If you don't have pictures of the actual projects themselves or the assets themselves, just put some other ones in there. Like if it's a car wash fund, put a freaking car wash in the background, right? Don't put some random building or something. So just make them very clean, not cluttered, and easy to look at. And again, the title is also hitting a bunch of different bullet point reasons up here. So that's like your main headline, and that should be very big and grab attention and very clear. And a quick note, if you're a business owner or a fund manager or syndication owner and you want to spend $500 plus per day on ads to get more accredited investors or get more leads for your business, click the link in the description down below. We have an offer where we basically either CRO everything for you that you're doing currently, or build up all the assets you need to have a winning ad campaign and winning funnel in 14 days. Launch your ads, then myself, am in your account for 30 days, helping you scale it and get results. So click the link down in the description below. It's gonna have a video breaking down all details about our offer and how we can help you. And then you can book a call with myself and we'll see if it's a fit for you. Now, let's get back to the video. Now let me get into some media buying stuff for you guys, and also the actual funnel strategy that we run. So now this will be some pretty tactical stuff, but essentially what we like to do in this space is typically run a CBO. We'll do an interest stack, which is essentially our accredited investor stack, which is a lot of different things that we layer on that are essentially interests and demographic traits of rich, wealthy, affluent, accredited investors and individuals. We've proven this over and over and over and over again, and it just works. So it basically has about 10 to 15 interests, and that are all different things like real estate investing, private equity, venture capital, and a bunch of other things. Passive investments is another interest trait that we put in there. We also have return on investment, banking, wealth management, and a couple other ones. So we basically just take those and layer them into the cold interest stack, and then we'll also sometimes test broad targeting, but most of the time, interest stack just wins. So most of the time we're running like a campaign with literally one ad set, unless we're running an ABO or a CBO if we want to like test the creatives more aggressively, where we'll have the same interest stack, but we'll have 7 to 15 different ads per ad set if we're testing like a higher volume of creatives. If we're just testing the audiences here, we'll have 7 to 15 creatives in here, 7 to 15 creatives in here, and these are going to be the same creatives in each one because we're testing the audiences here. Again, if you're just running very simple like CBO, the interest stack, 7 to 15 creatives, you're going to do about 2 to 3 pieces of body copy. So we do 1 short, 1 medium, 1 long piece, 2 to 3 headlines, and 1 to 2 descriptions, okay? Short copy is just direct to the offer. Medium copy is a little bit longer. Long copy is kind of explaining the fund, the offer, case study, stuff like that. Now with the funnel structure, what we do here is essentially we drive people from the ad over to a lead form. So we call this our high velocity opt-in strategy. So basically the key part with lead forms, like most people suck at lead forms and they get absolute terrible quality through it because they don't condition it right and they don't have the right messaging like we talked about before on the ads themselves to pull in the right people and repel the wrong people. So keep that in mind. But we need the right messaging on the ads and the right targeting on the actual ad set level to make this work as well. But essentially the lead form is we'll ask 2 to 3 qualifying questions. So again, we do, are you an accredited investor? Our fund requires a minimum investment of X all the way up to X. What is your ideal investment range? And if they're below the certain range, we basically DQ them. So we do not collect their information and they do not report back to the ad platform. So they just get kicked off the form basically. If they answer it properly, we might add 1 or 2 screening questions as well after that. But usually we'll start with those 2 questions. If they say, yes, I'm an accredited investor, and they say, yes, I have more than the threshold we're looking for, then we'll collect their name, phone number, and email. They will go down the qualified path and report back to the ad platform. Meta's a big old AI machine is what you have to keep in mind. So the data you feed into it is the data that you're going to get out of it essentially. So we want to feed only clean data into it. And what we'll do there is we'll send them basically to a bolted on VSL style call funnel. So we'll have a video on the next page after they submit their information that explains more about the deal and the fund. We'll have a calendar here for them to book in. Then we'll have a bunch of FAQs, some more information about the actual fund and deal itself, and then even some more case studies. So that's kind of like the page structure that we do after we drive them to, and then we'll drive them over to a confirmation page, which has headline, a video explaining real urgency, why they should get started with your actual fund. Then a bunch of videos that are about 45 seconds to 5 minutes long that answer a ton of questions you get in the sales process, really break down actual objections you get, talk about more metrics about the fund, talk about the history of the fund. And we layer on about 12 to sometimes upwards of 20 videos here. And I have a link down in the description below. You can check out one of those pages if you do want. And I also have a full video on this page that breaks this down in more detail. It's our show rate optimization video, so make sure to check that out. I break this down in much more detail. But essentially, these are a bunch of trust building videos that help your prospect do research on you, your fund, and your company. And again, these are a huge, huge, huge lever to pull. So make sure to have this. So these are just layered with it, and sometimes we'll add more text FAQs down there. But what this strategy requires is you have somebody dialing these opt-ins, these qualified opt-ins fast. So a 5-minute or less speed to lead, okay? If not, basically people are gonna get lost in the void. What we typically strive for is about 2 to 3 leads that come through. We actually connect with them on the phone there. And 1 out of 5, just be aware of this, usually it turns into like a full-blown sales call then. The other 2 we set for another call. So we want to optimize around getting a great cost per qualified lead on the front end here and have our salespeople dial. It's kind of just like the cherry on top. If they book in on that next step, that shows that they're just really interested. But we still want to dial these leads too because they did book in, and we want to follow our pre-call sales best practices to educate, nurture them, and answer any questions they have before the actual main investment briefing or sales call occurs. And some other things you could do to raise up quality if you're getting still bad leads here with these conditionally logicked out questions on the lead form is you could basically report qualified leads back through the conversion API from your CRM. That is an option. So basically the leads that come through that are qualified, you can only fire those ones back if you do wish to do so. It does just help with the cleanliness of the data going back into the ad account. And if you have any questions on this whatsoever, you can hit me up on X at Evan Seach, Instagram at Evan Seach, or comment down below and I'll get right back to you. Let's raise some cash through meta ads. Boom.